everyone, Kristee here. We're going to be doing some yoga today and we're going to be doing a floor-based sequence, nice and slow, nice and chill and very relaxing. We're going to be focusing on the lower half of our body today, so lower back, hips and legs, and we will be using some props in class. So I will show you those now. We're going to be using blocks today. You don't have to have 2 blocks, but if you do, always handy to have them. They might not be this size. It's okay if they're a little bit different. If you don't have yoga blocks though, you can additionally use a rolled up towel. Nice and easy, just make sure you've rolled it up nice and hard so it's very strong and supportive, and it's probably about the same size as a block anyway. We will also be potentially using a blanket at the end of class to get nice and cozy, so please grab one close by, or you can also use a jumper. And then last, we will be using our yoga strap today. So these yoga straps, you can find them online, or if you're able to get them in store, you can. If you have something similar, that's great too. If you don't have a yoga strap, you can also use a belt. You can use a dog lead. The dog leads are good because they actually have the loop, or you can use a drawstring for a dressing gown or something like that. Just as long as it's long enough for about your legs. It's okay if you do not have a loop for something as well. You can fold it over rather than looping things up too. But I'll get more into that once we get into it. For now, we're going to get into a nice little quick check-in, slight meditation, and we're going to be starting on our backs to do that, laying down to get nice and cozy. So take the time now to get comfortable. If you've got some stretches or twists to do, then do those. And then once you're down on the ground, some options for your legs today. You might have your feet apart, your knees falling together to help the lower back. It's a nice little soft position for it. You might have the feet together, the knees out wide for hips if they're very tight. You can also place blocks under the knees here to give them a bit more support. Or you can extend out those legs straight. Just make sure that those feet are a little bit wider than hip width distance apart. Your hands can be alongside the body. They can be resting on the body. Hands can be palms facing up or down, whatever feels most comfortable for you. But we're going to take the moment to close down our eyes, connect in with our breath, and to just get nice and comfortable. So just start by connecting in with the breath. We're not trying to change the breath. We're just noticing how it's feeling. Noticing how the breath is moving through our bodies. And if you do find that the mind is wandering here, just bring it back to that breath, back to the physical sensation. Feel the cool air as it enters your nostrils, the warm air as it exits. In today's class, there might be times when things get a little bit emotional or intense, and you might like to breathe out through the mouth to let go. So if you want to do that now, you can. Take the moment to check in with the body, to see how it's feeling from all the way down at the legs to all the way up at the head. Know that you're within your perfect range today. If you have injuries, I will be providing modifications throughout. But keep yourself safe. I'm going to slowly start to wake up our bodies a little bit by lengthening our breath and also wiggling our fingers and our toes. I'm going to take a big breath in. We're going to reach those arms up overhead and also straighten out and then point our toes. Big breath in as you stretch as much as you can here. And then slowly relaxing back into the ground. Let your body become heavy. Taking another big breath in this time, interlacing the fingers, turning the palms to face outwards, flexing those feet. A bit of a different stretch here. And then slowly releasing out. We're going to bend those knees, hug those knees in towards our chest. Give yourself a nice little cuddle, a little rock side to side. So today's class, you can do the entire class with your eyes closed if you really want to. It is a nice relaxing class, so hopefully you've got a nice quiet, dimly lit space. And we're going to take those hands onto the tops of our knees and then straighten out our arms and put all of the weight into our legs. So really just make them nice and full and heavy and make sure that they're not doing any work here, so they are nice and relaxed. We're going to do the work with our hands instead. We're going to draw circles away from each other with our knees. So we're going to move away, back towards our body, and then take the knees back in together and kind of like swim with those knees a little bit here. Now, since the arms are doing all of the work, their legs are really heavy. They're not the ones that are moving around for themselves. Your hands are creating the movement. Hopefully, after a few circles, you might find you've got a bit more space to give because those hips are really softening. So you might like to make those circles bigger too. This will really help to warm up through those hips. This is a great one to do if you just find that the hips are a little bit tight. If you've been doing a lot of sitting down lately, this is always helpful. And then it is also helpful in cold weather if you find that the cold travels up through your legs and through the hips and into the lower back. We're going to go in the opposite direction too. So once you come back to the middle, take it the other way. You might like to start small with those circles. Remember, it's like a swimming motion. Remind those legs to stay switched off. And then you might slowly make those movements bigger. Slowly bringing yourself back into the center. Giving yourself a little cuddle. And then we're going to roll over to the side in a little fetal position. You might like to take a few moments there, but then we're going to come up to meet on our bottoms. So comfortable seated position here. We are going to be doing a little bit of a forward fold in a moment. Before we do, we're just going to open up a little bit through those shoulders. We're just going to roll those shoulders back. So the arms today are going to be doing some of the work for our bodies. So we are focusing on the lower half of the body. Slowly bring those shoulders forward. We are focusing on the lower half of the body, but then that means the hands have to do some of the holding or some of the holding up or some of the pushing out. So we do still want to make sure the arms are feeling nice and comfortable. And we're just going to quickly open through the sides of the body here. So we're going to place our arm down alongside our body and then reach over with our opposite arm. You can bend the elbow down towards the ground if you'd like to make it a bit deeper. Coming back to the center, taking it over to the other side. Nice little stretch and a bend. Once more on each side, little stretch, and last one. And then going to take it quickly through a twist. So take your hand to the opposite knee, opposite hand behind you, looking back across the back shoulder, nice little twist here. Keeping that spine straight, and then slowly coming back to center and swapping sides. Nice little twist, keeping that back straight. Slowly coming into the middle. We're going to do a forward fold here. So this is going to help to soften through the back. It's going to also open through the hips here. So we're going to take our feet together, knees apart. This is our butterfly pose or our Baddha Konasana. If this position is not comfortable for you, you can extend those legs out into a straddle position as well. I don't mind which one you do for this next part. We can sit on a block here if it's helpful. If you've got really tight hips, sitting on the very edge of a block will help you to tilt forward through this movement, might make it just a little bit more accessible to you. So we're going to slowly start to walk those hands forward. Give yourself a nice little releasing stretch out here through those hips and through that lower back. Try to relax as far forward as you can. You can use your arms as a little platform for you to rest your head, or if you have another block or a towel close by, you can place that on the ground too. If you're finding that you're trying to reach forward and the shoulders are really rounding here, I'd like you to instead bring those arms in closer, turn the palms to face up, let the elbows relax onto the legs or the floor, and then just tell the head to switch off. Easier said than done though, so if you're finding that the head isn't switching off, you can give it a little rock side to side. See if that lengthens through the back of the neck for you. Use the next exhale to sink down that little bit deeper if there's room to go. And you can also slightly rock the knees side to side if everything's feeling a little bit too tight. Before slowly walking those hands back up towards your body. We're going to take those knees and draw them together, move the block to the side for now, we don't need it just yet, and then we're going to extend out our left leg and turn our right leg towards the side of the room. So we have our foot against our left leg. It can be up a little bit further away or it can be closer towards the body. And we're going to flex that left foot and then slowly walk our body towards that leg. This is going to give you a really nice stretch across the back of that leg in through that knee. If you're finding that this position isn't quite comfortable for you, you don't have to fully hold onto the foot, you can hold onto the leg instead. And then once again, like before, you can use your props as a little platform. So you might like to place your head on a block, or you might even like to have the block resting those arms, and then you can rest the body down onto those arms. Slowly walking the body back up to release out. Use your hand to guide the knee in. Extend that right leg, hook in the left, and bend out that left. Once again, flexed foot, slowly walk yourself forward. You might like to hold onto a block or a prop, whatever's feeling best. So the aim of the game here is to really let the body soften into a stretch. So if you're finding that parts of the body are squeezing or tensing, try to send your breath to those areas, release and relax and melt them out. That's when I like to sigh to let something go, and it sometimes helps to sink into it a little bit more. And then slowly walking out of it. I did forget to tell you what that one's called. That's called head to knee pose. Pretty self-explanatory, which is always good. Hands to the outsides of the knees. We're going to bring both of our legs together and give them a little walk side to side. The next one we're going to be doing is quite a strong pose. So if it is not available to you, there is a separate pose that you can do instead. I'm going to show you them together really quickly, and you can pick whichever one feels best for you. So we're going to take our left leg and we're going to draw it underneath our right leg so that our left knee is coming quite close to the center of our bodies. We're not sitting on that left foot though, it's just beside our bottom. We're going to take the other right leg over the top and slowly draw the legs together so that you've got both knees roughly in the center, stacked on top of each other with both of the feet coming quite close in. You can flex the feet if it feels more comfortable for the ankles, or you can keep them nice and pointed. It does help you to get a bit of a deeper position. This is called shoelace pose, kind of wrapped up like a shoelace. You can bring the body forward. By bringing the body forward, you're going to deepen the stretch, and you're going to feel it most through the hip that's on top. If this position is just not okay for you, you can come out of it. I will show you another position instead. But if this is feeling great, take a few moments to really sink here, really melt forward into it, and enjoy the deep hip stretch that you get. If it's not okay, Firepit Pose is an alternative. So we take one leg down, shin is parallel with a straight line in the front of the mat. We then stack our other leg on top. Our ankle and our knee are aligned, our knee and our ankle are aligned. If there's a gap here, that's okay. If it's a little bit more of a gap, that's okay too. You can put a block there if it does help you, but it doesn't really need a block. And then once again, to deepen this one, you can slowly walk the body forward. They both have their different benefits. If it's still not working for you, maybe just quickly skip this one. You can slide the ankle out though if you need to. That might make it a little bit softer on the knees. We'll take a few more moments in whichever of those positions you're choosing to do. I do always try to make sure that I give plenty of options because every single body is different. Know that yoga is okay for every type of body. There are plenty of modifications. And if you ever need to, try to find those modifications that feel right for you. Slowly walking the body back in. Use your hands to guide your legs out of whichever tangled position they're in and give yourself a quick little rock side to side. We're then going to swap sides. So we started off with our left leg underneath. We're now going to take our right leg underneath. Once again, bringing them into the middle, stacking them evenly in the center of the body and walking the body forward for shoelace pose. Stay there if it's okay. If not, Firepit pose. Ankles and knees are stacked. Shins are straight. You can walk yourself forward. Once again, if it's still not okay, you can widen yourself out so that your ankles are nice and close together and walk yourself forward to deepen it. Choose one of those three. I like you to pick your own poison. They're all going to be pretty intense, so as long as you feel comfortable, okay enough to hold it in one, then that's fine too. And remember, the breath is your power here, so sigh through the mouth, let something go. I did tell you at the start of class things might be a bit intense, so if your body's getting a little bit hot, if you're having a bit of an emotional reaction to things, know that that's okay too. Try to breathe through those feelings, exhale. You can have a little bad words in your head if you need to, a little bit of a grrr in your head, but know that this is all going to feel a lot better once you release out of it. Slowly walking the body back up. Once again, use your hands. Those legs have just done a lot of work. And give them a little bit of a walk side to side. That's enough of sitting on our bottoms for now. We're going to shoot those feet behind us and come into a tabletop position to do some cat-cows. This is going to just release out through the spine a little bit and assist us for our next few poses. So our shoulders in line with our wrists, hips in line with those knees. We're going to inhale, look up towards the ceiling. This is our cow. And then we're going to exhale, look down towards the ground, push up through the shoulder blades. This is our cat. Inhale to look up. Exhale to look down. Take it in your own time, your own rhythm, whatever feels best for you. You might like to slow things down, and just because you can, you might like to play, maybe move side to side, maybe flex the feet or bend the elbows, whatever feels good. We're going to move through those legs now and get into those hips. So we're going to come into center. We're going to extend back our left leg, bring our left leg forward into a lunge position. If you need to walk it forward with the hand, you can. We want to keep our knee in line with our ankle. We're then going to slowly walk the foot out to the edge of the mat and take the hands on the inside of the leg. I like to slide my knee further back, the back knee, so I get a bit of a deeper stretch here. This is sometimes called lizard pose. I like to call it dragonfly pose. It just sounds a little bit more fun. And you have some options here. It is quite deep, so you can stay on the arms. You can bring yourself onto your wrists, or you can use your props here to assist either bringing you higher or lower. So if you want to take yourself a bit higher, you can hold it onto a block or onto a block in these two positions. We do still want to keep quite low in those hips though. You can also take yourself down onto your elbows for this one. You don't have to do it on a block. You can do it on the ground if you'd like to, and then you can use the block for the head, whatever suits you. But we are getting a nice deep stretch here through those hips. And if it's feeling a little bit too intense, you can give yourself a little rock side to side through those hips too, and that might help release anything out. I would usually like to stay in these longer, but you know that these are quite short sessions. So if you do want to stay there longer, press pause on your video, take a few more moments. We're going to bring ourselves up though. Slowly take the hand to the outside of the foot, heel toe the foot back into the center, and then straighten out that front leg. So we want a nice straight knee, a nice pointed toe. We can hold onto the ground, or if you have blocks, you can hold onto those blocks too. We're trying to keep our spine as straight as it can. It can round a little bit, but not too much. We want a little bit of a straight spine there. We're then going to flex that foot, and this is going to give you a little nervy stretch along the back of the leg. I know you probably don't like me right now, but I promise you'll feel better after all this class is over. Your legs will thank you. This is really helpful for people that do a lot of cycling or running or walking and hiking. And then slowly point into that foot. We're going to bend into that knee, hands down onto the ground. And we're going to do one last pose here before swapping sides. So we're going to walk that foot over towards the opposite side. So now our left foot's coming over to the right side and we drop our knee down to the ground. We slide that hip further back if we're not quite low enough. And this is our pigeon pose. You can bring yourself down onto your arms. You can stay upright if it feels more comfortable, or you can lay down fully flat. What I don't want to see here is rolling out of it. We want our hips to be facing down. I call them hip headlights. Our headlights are shining down towards the ground now. And you can use a block if you'd like to underneath your back hip to give you a bit of extra support and to help tip you over. This is one of those ones that will be giving you a little bit of an emotional response. When I used to do this one, when I first started, it used to make me quite upset for some reason. So I used to use my breath to breathe through it. I breathed out through my mouth, gave a big sigh whenever I needed to, and that really helped. Slowly walking those hands up, moving your blocks out of the way if they're there. And then to come out of this one, you press into the floor, push back that leg, give it a shimmy, give it a shake. It's going to be feeling a lot of things right now, but we're not going to give it time to think. We're going to swap sides, extending back the right leg, right knee forward, right foot forward, knee in line with ankle, hand to the inside of the foot, heel toe that foot out into our dragonfly. Dragonfly, once again, you can stay upright, you can have a block to come up higher, or you can bring yourself down onto your elbows. I did forget to mention, if your back knee is hurting, you can double over your mat. You can use a towel underneath it or a pillow if it helps to soften the back knee. You can also come out of these positions and do them on your back. So if you're laying on your back, you just bring one leg up in nice and close towards your armpit, flex the foot and extend it towards the ceiling a little bit as you're holding it in, while the other leg is nice and straight. Slowly walking the body up, hand on the outside of the foot, heel toe that foot into the center, straighten out that leg, straight knee, pointed toe. Nice flat back if you can get it there, holding onto a block if you want a bit more height. And then we're going to flex that front foot. Nervy stretch. If holding it in a flex position is just not okay for your body, if you're like, please get me out of here, you can kind of move forward and back and it might make it a bit lighter. But then we're going to point the toe, bend the knee, hands down, and walk that foot over even more. Let the knee drop down to the ground, sink that hip back, coming into our pigeon pose. You can once again place a block underneath the hip if it gives it a bit more height. Up to you. You can stay on the elbows if it feels comfortable, or you can lay down fully flat. Give yourself the time to settle here. Like I said before on the other side, if you ever want to pause the video and sink into things for a little bit longer, it will be helpful to your body. It's always nicer to hold these for a couple of minutes. It really gives everything the time to settle and release out. This is a really beneficial position for anyone that suffers from sciatica. This might help to relieve any pain that you get there. Slowly walking the body up, push into the arms, send that foot back, give it a shimmy, give it a shake. And then we are going to come onto our backs and we're going to be using our straps. So have the straps close by, have a drink of water if you need to, grab a blanket too, because we will be getting into our meditation after we use our straps. So you can always cover yourself with a blanket or you can grab a pillow. And we are going to come down onto the ground, bending our knees. We're going to give a nice little stretch through our legs and then a twist into a stretch that will help our glutes and our spine. So we're going to start by looping over the left foot. Like I said before, if you don't have a loop on your apparatus, you can give it a little flip over instead. And we're going to extend the leg up towards the ceiling. Nice straight leg. I keep my foot flexed because if it points, it will slip off a little bit. So you don't have to fully flex it. You might just have it relaxed and flexed. This leg is going to stay nice and bent just for now. We will straighten it out in a few moments. And what I don't want to see is this. It's not comfortable. It's going to hurt your shoulders. You've been doing so much work on those already. Now's the time to soften and relax them out. So bring the arms closer to your body. And if you need a bit more hold, you can wrap them around, and that will give you a little bit more of a tighter hold. So it's going to give you a nice little stretch. The closer the legs are coming in towards the body, the deeper the stretch is going to be. And then we're going to straighten out that bent leg. This is going to deepen the stretch even more. Going to move into a twist now. So we're going to take our opposite hand, so our right hand up nice and high along the strap. We're going to unravel our left hand and extend it out, palm turning up. And then we're going to slowly bring our leg across our body, so that left leg is moving towards the right side with the arm as a guide. This is going to give you a really deep twist. You're going to feel it in your glutes as well, nice through the lower back, and you're still going to get that nice extension across the back of the leg. Try and keep that leg on the same plane it was when it was up in the sky, so make sure it doesn't release out. You still want a nice hold on that strap. You can do this without a strap if you do need to. You can just kind of hold onto the leg instead. It's just a little bit of harder work too. Slowly bringing yourself back to center. Hug that leg in, give it a little cuddle. Move it over towards the armpit, and then slowly unloop and release out. Swapping sides, keeping the left leg bent on the floor, extending the right leg up, once again bringing the arms nice and close down, wrapping them if you need to, softening those shoulders into the floor. We're going to take it into our twist now. So opposite hand reaching up nice and high, left hand, extending out your right hand, straightening out your leg. Take a few moments here. It's going to get a little bit deeper. And then we're going to take it across our bodies. Nice little twist, keeping both of the shoulders in contact with the mat. It's okay if your leg's a little bit higher up as well, if it's not as close to the floor, because you still have got that hand to support you. So it should feel okay no matter where it is. To deepen the twist, you can of course look out across the opposite hand like any other twists we do, but you can keep it nice and simple just by looking up at the ceiling. It's going to give you a nice release through that lower back and across the sides of the hips. And because we have our shoulders on the floor, it is going to extend up towards the top half of our back as well. Slowly bringing the leg back to center, hugging that leg in, give it a little cuddle, move it open towards the armpit, give it a few moments here. Those legs have done a lot of work today, but hopefully they're feeling nice and long now. We're going to unloop that strap. We're going to move it to the side, grab your blankets or your jumpers as we move into our meditation now. I do have some options for meditations for you today. You can use a block in meditation, or if you'd prefer to lay down flat, if your hips and back have done enough, you can just stay flat in Shavasana corpse pose. But if you'd like to, you can slide a block underneath your tailbone. So we don't want it on the spine. We want that nice flat tabletop part where the tailbone is. And then you can just let your legs bend and hold here for what's called supported bridge. The pressure on that tailbone is going to be really nice for anyone that finds they get a little bit of issues through their sacroiliac joint or sciatica or anything like that through their lower back and down through the legs. But if this isn't a good enough position for you for your meditation, you can of course remove the block and lay down nice and flat. Getting cozy, getting comfy, closing down those eyes. If there's any other little twists you need to do, cracks or stretches, take the time to do them now. But then we are going to close down the eyes and settle in for a nice little 5-minute meditation. So So just start by closing down the eyes, popping on those layers, making sure you're cozy and warm. I will let you know when it's time to come out, so you can keep those eyes closed until I tell you to open them. You're going to let go of all expectations of a meditation. If you've never done one before, or it's your 1000th one, try to just bring yourself to the now. Allow your legs and feet to soften, to relax and to become heavy. Allow your torso to soften, to become heavy. Allow your arms and shoulders to soften, to become heavy. And then allow your head and neck to soften and become heavy. I'd like you to imagine that your body is made out entirely of candle wax. And with each breath, you bring a bit of a flame towards that candle wax. You melt it just a little bit more. It softens and loses its form and shape. It melts and sinks in towards your mat. If there's any areas in your body that are still holding on to tension, send that flame through your breath to those areas and allow them to soften, to melt. Imagine that your body loses form so much that you lose your shape and just become something that feels so very relaxed and so soft. And just as quickly as you've gotten used to that new form, your body starts to solidify it again until you are not made of candle wax anymore. Your shape begins to take form. Your arms, your legs, your torso, your head. You feel the clothes against your skin. You feel the mat or the block underneath you. You start to lengthen that breath, and then you give your fingers and your toes a little wiggle just to wake the body up. If you are on a block, I'd like you to slowly lift the body up, glide that block out of the way. Let your body meet the mat again before slowly straightening out those legs. I'm going to take a big breath in, reach those arms up overhead, point the fingers, point the toes, give a big stretch, and then slowly release out. Rolling over to one side in a little fetal position. You can use the arm as a nice little pillow for the head. You might like to blink open the eyes now. You might like to still keep them closed. Up to you. And then slowly coming up to a comfortable seated position. Bring your hands to the heart space in Anjali Mudra. If you haven't, start to blink open those eyes. I would like to thank you for your class today. Hopefully the lower half of your body is feeling lovely and soft and you're able to do good with it now. The light in me honors light in each and every one of you. Thank you and namaste.